Moving on to an interesting piece that I didn't expect to come out. There's like a beef between Gordon Ryan and Mikey Musumeci, and Mikey Musumeci getting into it in an interview about steroids in jiu-jitsu, and his contention is that they blatantly use PEDs in jiu-jitsu, and it's something that's got to go away, and he kind of takes shots. I would like to share this. I don't believe I will get copyright strikes for this one, and so you see I have my headphones in, my old school fucking old ass headphones, and let us take a look. He says we need drug testing. We're in this barbaric amateur phase of jiu-jitsu, and I have made known my views on steroids in general, but also, maybe not specifically in jiu-jitsu. I don't really care. I think that the pearl clutching over steroids in combat sports, you could really affect someone's life like this. It's like, maybe, but also, aren't they already doing that? And also, like, what are we really mitigating? Marginal percentages of concussive damage when there's strikes involved? I mean, don't come for me in the comments, but like that I don't really care about that. I don't use steroids myself. I haven't when I've competed. I will probably get on TRT one day. When I'm a little bit older man, got a little bit more Dariush in my beard and in my hair, but I don't really get the pearl clutching. It's like this weird virtue signaling. And it kind of goes around with like that honor culture vibe of martial arts. This like weird pseudo Bushido code bullshit about like everything has to be even and everything. Well, nothing is ever even, And so like, what about physical body traits? What about experience? What about youth? What about how people feel on the right day? What about like their overall wealth outside of the sport, allowing them to train at a better octave or recover at a better clip or have a better diet? I mean, it's just, you want to like wrangle in and make fair this one thing that like, hey, I'm going to give you a hint. Like it's, even if there was a way to never have anyone use steroids in MMA, it still probably wouldn't matter that much. It's not like it's going to make anything magically fair. And like to that point, like I really just I would need to see hard data that use of steroids provides more concussive damage than is already a possibility in MMA, right? I understand that you're stronger, your fast switch muscles, it can be developed a little bit better, your reaction time goes down, right? Or goes up rather, and maybe you are able to get a shot in that throws somebody off, and then the domino effect of that kind of coming in, right? Where now that one shot, maybe you had a little more torque on that one shot from the steroids, and now they're off their game, and then that allows you to get another shot and another shot and another shot, and then maybe there's all these, but that possibility is still there, even amongst clean athletes. And I really don't, also like, and this is all like bro science. There's not, unfortunately, there is not really data to back this. Like there couldn't possibly be, because you would have to know that people are clean, know that, and like, not just, and like, it would have to be these guys at the highest level. And I don't think USADA was, like, call this a conspiracy. I don't think USADA was 100% accurate or, geared at everybody in the same way, right? But I would have to see data. And then on a more like abstract level and like a totally different tone than like the scientific level, it's like a lot of guys were using steroids regardless, even if they didn't look like it past the eye test, even if they didn't say it, right? They are. And I hate to say it, but it's the nature of the sport, and I really don't care. And so let's take a listen at what Mikey Musumeci has to say here.
Other people like Gordon, Craig, they definitely help the sport grow in different ways. But I feel like what I'm doing right now is definitely the most important thing for grappling in terms of having a stable platform. I feel like a lot of jiu-jitsu right now is very unstable. There's a lot of horrible ethics, morals, And I hope now that with UFC, we could change that and we can make it a professional sport, because it hasn't been a professional sport, jiu-jitsu, with people just talking about, like, they blatantly use PEDs, like they're not athletes, you know, so they really don't have the values of martial artists, you know, so I really just want to change that and give us this platform on UFC and become professionals to the point where we are professional athletes. What does that look like to me? That looks like we have belts. We have everything just like MMA fighters. Drug testing and belts and stability. Yes, drug testing. We need drug testing. Completely make Darwinism with the people on steroids, that they either have to just get off and they either die, adapt, or they adapt. You know, and then the next generation realizes that they can just start steroids when they're like 10 years old. You know, so I want to change that. That will give me the most fulfillment. And then for myself, and I'll really enjoy venturing into other things, you know, but I don't know how long that will take, but I just have to give my full effort right now to jiu-jitsu. I keep improving every day, and I'm just eager to keep improving and to keep growing our sport.
Have you told the UFC of like these goals you want to do, and have they been on board with the drug testing and the belts and everything?
Of course they are, because they want to make this professional also, you know, like UFC is a professional company. Like, this way that we've been in jiu-jitsu, we've been amateurs, you know, we really are just like in this barbaric amateur phase of jiu-jitsu. And now UFC is starting something professional, you know, so I'm so blessed for them for putting the effort into jiu-jitsu to change it, you know, and I'm so eager for them to do that.
Worst story that you've ever had to deal with, like, man, this guy's juiced up and it's just unfair?
My whole life. I'll start a match with the people on steroids and I'll be like, what the f-? He feels like a rock. Like their bodies just feel like super solid, right? But then I think about Dan Gable. You know, he's like one of my idols, and he talks about those people that cheat and take shortcuts. And I never cheated or took a shortcut, so I have a stronger mind than all those people. So I knew that if I used my mind against theirs, my mind is always going to be stronger than theirs, you know? So I always overcame those people my whole career in jiu-jitsu, and it made it even more special to me knowing that those people are all cheating. But at the same time, I can't stay quiet about that, you know, because if I stay quiet about that, then it's just going to continue. It's just going to continue. So I feel like that's a test from God to me, that I see bad, and do I stay quiet just to have more friends in my life? Or do I speak up, have more enemies, more people hating me, but I can make a difference? So that's why I talk about this. That's why I say this.
Interesting. I mean, this subject brought to you by Gordon Ryan's response here. It's not cheating. I kind of tend to agree here. It's not cheating. It's cheating if the rule says don't do it and you do it by proxy of like the rules there. But like, if they don't have a drug testing policy, it's not cheating and it's not an unfair advantage. You have every right to take steroids as well. You have every right to not compete. But like, you can't say I'm going to do this thing, but then like pick and choose like, but you can't do this. I mean, that's like, you can't do leg locks. You can't wear gi pants. So what did Gordon say? The guy talking about ethics and morals has been on 37 different jiu-jitsu teams, got what he could from them and left. You want to have my dick in your mouth constantly and talk about morals? How about start with loyalty? This little rat's been on more teams than Keenan, taking what he wishes, and when he can't learn anymore, leaves to the next. Get off your moral high ground, dork. This guy's talking about cheating. Steroids are legal in every competition minus specific IBJJF competition since 2019. It's not cheating. All I hear is an excuse for why you could never do what others, specifically I, have done. Then he's going off about mental fortitude. The same chicken shit that posts once every few months about his mental health and how sad he is and how he can't handle people talking shit to him, and the same guy who got invited to ADCC more than anyone who's never competed and didn't even compete because he's afraid he can't win in the rule set. Made up some BS excuses and pulled out every time. All these dick suckers have my name in their speaking from moral high ground, yet can't even do the most basic things in the sport, like stay loyal to those who brought you off. It's impressive. He went a little hard in the paint there, but I kind of arrive at the same point as him. You know? I kind of arrive at the same point as him. It's not as bad as MMA. Maybe a higher percentage usage, but like it's not as like dangerous as it is in MMA, and I don't even really think there's much verification to that point. But like, I just don't really get it. comes from a moral high ground kind of thing or a Bushido code thing, and those, get the fuck out of here with those excuses. Because it's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. And, you know, not for nothing, dude, Mikey is in a weight class where a lot of guys don't use steroids. The Ruotolos, fucking, I don't know, you know, Caio Terra's not competing much anymore, but like, he's not exactly wrong. A lot of guys are using steroids, but he's also not exactly like devoid of any opponents, or like every opponent he faces is outclassing him. Like Mikey Musumeci is like one of the best in the world. It's like, what are you really bitching about? Your moral high ground? So you're the guy on the corner preaching to everybody about their bullshit. I don't get it, and I don't agree with it, but fuck it. That notion that the smaller guy can defeat the opponent if they know jiu-jitsu is true to some extent, right? But it doesn't hold up. You start studying jiu-jitsu, and it's like, it's just not true, dude, because like, there are guys who have less experience than me. I'm training for like almost 10 years now. I think I hit my 10 years this past October. There are guys who have been training for a lot less time than me, who are big. And I know more than them. I know that I know more than them. I've competed. I'm, you know, not at a high level by any means. I'm not trying to fucking say that I'm, you know, anyone who should be throwing stones at professionals, right? That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying there is a physical reality to someone having a size advantage on you. That's no joke, right? But that is not really, that's not really like the case anymore. That's not really like what Mikey is talking about here. Mikey is talking about how he's, you know, he's always faced these bigger guys and he has a better mentality than, well, like, then by proxy of that, like, don't you have an advantage that they don't have? Confidence, self-assurance, mentality, knowing what you can do in certain situations where maybe they think they're just going to crush the smaller guy because they're bigger or because they're on steroids and they know they're stronger. Well, does that not even the playing board just a little bit, give you some kind of advantage that they don't have, right? You ever see Gio Martinez in that, that was that quintet, and Gio Martinez just fucking slaps on the guillotine to this larger guy and puts him away? It's like, I get what Mikey is saying in the sense that he wants guys to stop doing steroids because he doesn't do steroids. I get it. They do it. There's adverse health effects there, you know? But on the other hand, if those guys are willing to take this shorten their lifespan or their competitive span for a while, or, you know, just ruin their body with steroids in some capacity for a brief window where they can achieve greatness and their bodies are at the peak, that's their decision and that's their trade-off there. But banning it from the sport, it just seems like a fool's errand, you know? It seems like it like has echoes of we should ban leg locks, right? Because, oh, well, that could really fuck you up. Steroids give people an unfair advantage. It's like, well, meet that advantage with your own advantages. That's what martial arts has always been about. It's always been about, you know, some people are going to be better at wrestling. Some people are going to be better at striking. Some people are going to be born with other attributes that you don't have and traits that you don't have. And then you develop you find out what those are, you develop your own advantages, and then you go to town. I mean, there's a case to say that guys with steroids are overconfident and they're not forced to go to those dark places, forced to audit themselves in a way that maybe they should at a high level because they just have never needed to. And that's why you see guys like Mikey Musumeci who are so fucking entertaining to watch and so good at grappling. And this, you know, they're not athletes, he says. It's like, no, they're athletes. They're athletes, bud. They're not clean athletes, but they're athletes. And I just don't like, you know, we need drug testing. Do we? Do we need drug testing in jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu is fun as fuck to watch. I don't think it's I mean, this is kind of the same in any sport too, right? It's fun to watch. You're getting better performances out of these guys than you would have because of their ability to recover better, because of their strength, their explosiveness, maybe their reaction time or whatever. But like any argument about like entertainment or sports that comes from this like diet Bushido code mentality, it just does nothing for me. It just does nothing for me. We should do this because then it would be fair. Well, it wouldn't be fair because of all the reasons that I laid out a minute ago. Like, so what are you really bitching about? I don't get it personally. I don't do steroids. I am also a smaller guy. I'm a skinnier guy. I'm 6'2", but like I'm a very skinny guy. I am often outmaneuvered by more athletic people. People are often stronger than me in positions. But it makes those moments in the training room when you go against a stronger guy, a more muscly guy, maybe who knows enough to stifle your game and you have to kind of work creatively around that. It makes those moments all the sweeter, And, to go back to this like notion about like other martial arts and, if you have a little bit of knowledge going against someone who has no knowledge, like you see that all the time where it's like, okay, they're a bigger guy, but someone with training and tactical like prowess has gone and then now slept them on the internet. And it's like, okay, well, is that not the point right there? Like right there, they have other attributes and then David defeats Goliath with a sling. And the sling is like, I know what I'm doing. And I get that the caveat to that is that at the professional level, everyone knows what they're doing, right? And so you have to like, when everything technically is pretty close, what's an advantage on strength? Well, it could be a lot, but that's always going to be the case. That's why we have weight classes. That's why the absolute exists, because you are foregoing that you might be at a disadvantage in weight or height or what have you, or even experience, but you're still going to go and just go in the pool. The absolute is the division where everybody, any weight can go. And that's what makes it interesting. So his argument that you make it fair or somehow more noble if you remove steroids from the sport is just not true, because the very thing that he's complaining about is the thing that kind of makes it beautiful. And it's the thing that kind of brought about that like weird mentality that I mentioned at the beginning of this fucking rant about like, if you knew jiu-jitsu, you could beat bigger guys. It's like, well, yeah, like, but that wasn't because you knew jiu-jitsu. That was just because you had, maybe like you're using the techniques of jiu-jitsu or grappling to defeat them, but like, it really came down to like you had a better approach. Their approach is steroids. Your approach isn't steroids. So where's the deficit there? You by Mikey's own words, you have an advantage in that you have confidence. You know that you can go to those darker places. You know what you can and can't fight out of. These guys don't know. And, personally in my experience and in my, just opinion, I would rather be brought to the depths and have visited those like dark places before, those shitty positions before, than not ever have had to, because eventually you will have to. And, the crazy thing is that this is not just some guy this is not like AJ Agazarm or Dylan Dennis saying this. And it's like, oh, well, you just like are not good enough to compete at those top levels against those guys. Mikey Musumeci is that guy. And I just think it's weird that he has this take, because it's like, dude, you defeat giants all the fucking time and you're really good. So I don't understand like where, like, you get it. So why do you have this like virtue signaling approach on like, we should just not do steroids? Like, well, oh my God, Mikey's a moron, He's not. But I digress. And so that's really all I got for you today. We'll get to a little more tomorrow. I got my official breakdowns coming. And, as usual, subscribe, like, comment. Tell me what you think about steroids. Tell me what you think about the UFC 311 card. And, follow me on X, follow me on Instagram. And, yeah, that's really all I got, dude. Sorry for my rants today. Hopefully they were entertaining. Peace.